Hi, Room 104. This is Miss Booz. Thanks for joining me today. So we're going to do a read aloud, and we're going to be reading Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Sima. And as we read, we're going to be thinking about the central message of this book, or the theme. Now, the central message, or theme, is the lesson about life that the author wants to teach us through their story. So we're going to think about all the details of this book. Those are the little petals of the flower. And think about how they come together around one central idea, the heart of the story, the most important thing that the author's trying to teach us about life. And the central message can be applied to anyone's life. So as we read this story about Kelp, the not quite narwhal, we're going to think about what aspects of Kelp's story can we learn from, even in our own life. All right, so this is Not Quite Narwhal by Jessie Sima. Now, a narwhal is a type of whale with a very long tusk, a big tooth that comes out of their forehead. And it kind of reminds us of another animal, a fictional or made-up animal, and that's going to be part of the story. All right, Kelp was born deep in the ocean. Here's Kelp. He knew early on that he was different from the other narwhals. His tusk wasn't as long as everyone else's. He had different tastes in food. Look at him, looking at that squid. And he wasn't a very good swimmer. There's Kelp wearing floaties. So these are the narwhals. And we're thinking about the subject of who is Kelp? Who is he really? Who is he on the inside? And we know this is a bit of detail about that. We know he is born with the narwhals, but he's not quite the same as them. He has different tusk, different tastes in food, not a very good swimmer. But his friends didn't seem to mind. So Kelp decided he wouldn't either. His friends didn't mind the differences. And so Kelp decided he wouldn't either. That is, until he was swept away by a strong current. Whoa, shh, there he goes. He's getting swept away. And here's Kelp. I wish I were a better swimmer, so he wouldn't get swept away. Kelp found himself at the surface, closer to land than he'd ever been before. High up on a cliff, he spotted a mysterious, sparkling creature that it looked so familiar. It looked like Kelp. Kelp swam toward land as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that he could catch up with the creature that looked just like him. When he finally reached the shore, Kelp felt a bit anxious. That means nervous or worried. He had never left the ocean. He was nervous about walking for the first time, but the land creatures made it look so easy. It wasn't. Oof. There he is, trying to walk like a crab. Ow! He's trying to jump like a frog. Oh, now he's got it. Eventually, he got the hang of it. Everything on land was strange and beautiful, but also kind of scary. Ooh, there's Kelp feeling scared. Kelp began to think he might never find the creature that looked just like him. But as he stumbled out of the forest, land narwhals! Kelp sees the land narwhals. Or, actually, we're unicorns. There's the unicorn talking. And by the looks of it, so are you. So Kelp has always thought he was a narwhal, but just a little different. And now he discovers he's actually a unicorn. So I'm thinking about, what does this mean for the central message of the story? What is the author trying to teach us about who you really are, or who anyone really is? Kelp had never heard of unicorns before. They taught him all sorts of new things about his tusk. We call them horns. Wow. They introduced him to unicorn delicacies. This is a uni-cone. Rainbow unicorn ice cream. And they showed him how to gallop. There was no doubt that Kelp was, in fact, a unicorn. He was having so much fun that he didn't want to leave. Oh, so far we know that Kelp wasn't quite like the narwhals, but they were his friends. Then he finds the unicorns and he fits right in. He realizes he really is a unicorn. But then he remembered all of his friends under the sea. Kelp missed them terribly, so he said goodbye to the unicorns and returned to the ocean. Come back soon, the unicorns say. So this is kind of a problem, isn't it? Kelp thought he was happy just being a narwhal, even though he wasn't quite fitting in. He was a little different than the narwhals. Then he found the unicorns, and he was just like them. He really was a unicorn, but he still missed his other friends. So the problem is he feels kind of sad because he's torn between these two parts of himself, or these two groups of animals that he loves. And he can't be just one thing. Kelp swam toward home as fast as he could, which wasn't very fast at all, hoping that the narwhals would still like him now that he was a unicorn. When he finally arrived, Kelp had butterflies in his stomach. Welcome home, Kelp! Oh, everybody welcomes him home. They're happy to see him. Kelp took a deep breath and told his friends the news. It turns out I'm not a narwhal. Of course you aren't. I'm a unicorn. We all knew that. They took it quite well. So Kelp, that's funny that Kelp's making this big discovery and has this big news, but everybody already knew. Kelp was happy to be home, but now that he'd experienced life on land with the unicorns, he couldn't seem to forget them. So this is an interesting piece of evidence as well. Now that he's back with his narwhals under the sea, he misses his land unicorns. So here, those are kind of both two pieces of his identity. Did he want to be a land narwhal with the unicorns, or a sea unicorn with the narwhals? Kelp couldn't decide. Oh, so that's basically the choice. That's the big decision, the crux of the issue for Kelp. Who did he want to be? Did he want to be a land narwhal with the unicorns, or a sea unicorn with the narwhals? Kelp couldn't decide. But then he realized that maybe, here comes the solution. Take a second and think about what might be the solution to Kelp's problem. He realized that maybe he didn't have to choose. So this picture is amazing. And you see all the unicorns. Some of the unicorns are in the water. The narwhals came to the shore and they're playing. They're toasting marshmallows on their horns. And there's Kelp. And he looks very, very happy. So, this is the end of the story. I'm a unicorn! So, this story has a central message or a theme about who we really are. And I want you to think about What is the central message or the theme? If you have a couple of pieces of yourself, maybe it's more than one. This is not just for narwhals and unicorns. This is for all people, everyone. Sometimes we feel like there's different parts of ourselves. Maybe we really like to play outside with our friends, but we also like to be at home, and spend time alone writing or drawing. Or maybe we love sometimes to read, but then other times we don't want to read. We want to watch TV. Or maybe we have a group of friends that likes to, a group of friends that likes to play basketball and a group of friends that likes to play jump rope. And sometimes we feel like kelp, like we have to choose. We have to decide between one group or another. But what kelp discovered in the end, and I think this is the message for everyone, not just kids, not just narwhals, not just unicorns, but for everyone, is that when there's these different parts of our identity, just like kelp, maybe we don't have to decide. Maybe in order to really be happy, in order to really find out who we are, we can bring those two sides of our identity together. So, as you read your own books and as you listen to other stories, I want you to think about, are there ways that a character has different parts of themselves? And how does that character bring those parts together? Is that character able to bring the two sides of themselves together, or the multiple sides of themselves together? And if they do, is that a way that they can help solve their problems, just like kelp? All right, keep reading, stay in, stay safe. I'm thinking about all of you. And as you read, think about, what's the central message of my book? What are the details of the story that are helping us get to the heart of the story and the lesson, not just for narwhals and unicorns, but the lesson for all people? All right. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys soon.